How did a $220 million drone just vanish? It was the crown jewel of American surveillance. The price tag alone was double an F-35 fighter. Its mission was simple: watch everyone from 60,000 feet up. At that height, you are a ghost. You are supposedly untouchable by any ground threat. But in June 2019, the world watched in shock. Deep over the Strait of Hormuz, everything changed. A single Iranian missile ended the legend. How does a domestic rocket kill a giant? In modern warfare, there is a brutal truth. Nothing is truly invincible anymore, not even the most expensive aircraft ever built. As the wreckage hit the water, tension peaked. Was this the spark for a global conflict? The whole world expected a rain of fire. A retaliatory strike seemed almost certain. But then, the US military did something unexpected. They chose silence over a massive war. Why let a massive fortune just sink away? Why accept such a humiliating loss? The answer is not just in the politics. It is in the sheer physics of failure. It involves a hidden tactical trap. This was not a lucky shot. It was a masterclass in tactical deception. This is the fall of the Global Hawk, the phantasm that fell from the sky. We are decoding the flaw that caused it. It started with a single, lonely radar blip, one that should have been invisible. To understand this, look at the map. This is the exact point of the interception. It is where technology met a hard reality. This was a chess move on a global scale, a billion-dollar gamble that failed. It proves that air superiority has a price. Sometimes that price is a total loss. The RQ-4A Global Hawk glides through the darkness. It operates at 18,000 meters. This is the very edge of our atmosphere. The air up here is incredibly thin. It is also freezing cold. The sun looks like a sharp diamond, but for the drone, it is just data. This machine is the ultimate surveillance tool. It is the unblinking eye of the US military. Its wingspan is longer than a Boeing 737. It glides through the sky for 30 hours. Its sensors are the most advanced ever built. It uses the integrated sensor suite. This includes high-resolution cameras. It includes synthetic aperture radar. It can see through thick clouds. It can see through heavy sandstorms. It watches the Strait of Hormuz with precision. It tracks every oil tanker in the water. It monitors every patrol boat on the coast. It is a silent witness to history. The drone feels untouchable in its high perch. Most surface-to-air missiles cannot reach this high. Most radars are not sensitive enough to find it. It is a high-altitude ghost. But on the ground, the situation was different. The IRGC was not sleeping. They were hidden in the rugged Iranian mountains. They were using the Khordad-3 mobile battery. This is a purely domestic Iranian weapon system. It was designed for this exact mission. The Iranian operators sat in a cramped cabin. It smelled of ozone and electronics. The green glow of the monitors lit their faces. They were highly trained and very patient. They were not using Western radar standards. They used a unique frequency band. They were scanning the vast blue sky. They were looking for a tiny needle. Suddenly, a flicker appeared on the screen. It was not a bird or a cloud. It was a solid moving target. The radar had found a reflection. The Global Hawk was no longer invisible. The Troc 2 IRGC adjusted their dials. They refined the tracking signal. The radar lock became absolute. High above, the drone's sensors started to scream. Warning lights flashed red in the US control room. The pilot was in a base far away. He saw the threat on his screen. He felt a sudden surge of adrenaline. The mission had changed in an instant. The hunter was now the hunted. There was no way to hide. The ticking clock had started its count. Every beat of the heart was a second lost. The Iranian crew prepared for the final launch. The silence of the morning was over. The tension in the air was thick. Every second felt like an hour. The lock was holding steady. The fate of the drone was sealed. This was the moment of truth. The disaster unfolded in 5 violent stages. This is stage 1. The Iranian commander gave the final order. A Khordad-3 missile roared into life. It blasted off its mobile launcher. A massive plume of smoke filled the air. The interceptor accelerated to supersonic speeds. It climbed toward the edge of space. The rocket motor was a bright flame. It aimed for the silent ghost above. Stage 2 is the failure of technology. The Global Hawk's computers detected the missile, activated its advanced defensive suite. It tried to jam the incoming radar. It sent out waves of electronic noise. It tried to create a false target, but the Khordad-3 was stubborn. Its domestic logic ignored the American jamming. It stayed on its lethal trajectory. The drone was too high to maneuver. Its long wings were not meant for dogfights. It could not pull a sharp turn. It was a sitting duck in the stratosphere. Stage 3 is the moment of impact. The proximity fuse sensed the metal hull. The warhead detonated with a massive flash. Thousands of shrapnel pieces hit the drone. The composite wings were shredded. The engine exploded into 1,000 parts. A $220 million machine died. It was a spectacular fireball in the sky. Debris began a long fall to the sea. Stage 4 is the Scorched Earth Protocol. At the US Command Center, screens went dark. Operators realized the drone was gone. They immediately triggered a total remote wipe. They sent a self-destruct signal to the software. Every line of secret code was deleted. Every encrypted key was destroyed instantly. They burnt the digital brain of the drone. They could not let Iran capture the data. They protected the secrets with fire. It was a digital suicide for the mission. They left nothing for the enemy to find. Finally, Stage 5 is the ultimate paradox. The world prepared for a massive war. US aircraft carriers moved into position. Cruise missiles were ready in their tubes. Everyone expected a rain of fire on Iran. The Situation Room was full of tension. Leaders debated the cost of a counterstrike, but the order never came. The president called off the strike. The US chose to accept the loss. They chose a strategic retreat over war. They let a fortune sink into the water. They traded a machine for human lives. It was a humiliating blow to a superpower, but it was a calculated move for peace. They let the hardware burn to save the world. It was a tactical defeat, but a moral choice. Now, a haunting question remains. How did the stealth fail so badly? Why was the invisible drone seen? We must look at the physics of radar. We must look at the mountains of Iran. The answer is hidden in the waves. It involves a very clever tactical trap. This is the secret of the horizon. Think about the curve of core world. A radar on the ground is limited. It cannot see through the earth. This creates a hidden zone below. We call this the radar shadow. Most pilots fly low to hide here, but the Global Hawk did the opposite. It climbed to 18,000 meters, wanted a clear view of Iran, but this made the drone visible. It sat high above the horizon line. It was visible from hundreds of miles away. The Earth could not hide it anymore. The drone was a target in space. Why did 18 kilometers of altitude fail? We think of high altitude as a fortress. Usually it is a layer of armor, but the Earth is a sphere. This creates a phenomenon called radar horizon. At 18,000 meters, the drone is visible. It sits above the curve for hundreds of miles. It is like a lighthouse in the dark. The drone broke the horizon very early. It was a massive target for ground crews. Next, we must analyze the radar waves. Stealth technology is a game of physics. It aims to reduce the radar cross-section. Most stealth jets hide from fire control radar. These use high frequencies like the X-band. They are precise but very narrow. Stealth coatings soak up these specific waves. But Iran changed the rules of the game. They deployed low-frequency search radars. These waves are several meters long. They do not care about special paint. They do not care about sharp angles. There is a secret in physics. It is called the resonance effect. Stealth jets are a certain size. Their wings have a specific length. Low-frequency radar waves are also long. When the wave matches the wing, something happens. The signal becomes very loud. The drone becomes a giant reflector. No amount of paint can stop this. It is a matter of geometry. The waves hit the entire drone frame. They bounced back with a loud signal. The Global Hawk appeared on every screen. It looked as big as a house. To the Iranians, it was a giant. This brings us to the Khordad 3 itself. Do not call this system old tech. It is a clever, lethal hybrid. It uses a reliable mechanical base, but it has a modern digital brain. Iranian engineers wrote their own software. They used advanced digital signal processing. This cleans up the messy radar noise. It separates the drone from the clouds. The system also uses passive tracking. Passive sensors do not emit energy. The US pilot received no warning. His radar receivers remained totally silent. The lock was a digital ghost. The missile was already in the air. Now consider the failure of jamming. US electronic warfare is the best. It is trained on Russian and Chinese threats. It looks for specific known patterns. The Iranians knew the US playbook. They knew we monitor the X-band. They knew we expect Western signals, so they went a different way. They used indigenous hardware and software. Their code was a complete mystery. The US jammer had no reference. It was a digital lock without a key. The computer tried every known frequency, but the Khordad 3 was on its own. It was a closed, private network. The drone had no way to enter. It had no way to disrupt it. It was a masterclass in local design. American doctrine relies on total stealth. We assume our drones are ghosts. We trust our electronic eyes completely. This trust is our greatest vulnerability. The Iranians took a different path. They did not try to match us. They looked for the gaps we left. They saw the drone as a signal. They treated the sky like a math problem. They knew the drone's flight path. It was a rigid, predictable pattern. This predictability was the true killer. The drone was flying in a straight line. It was easy to calculate the intercept. The machine was smart, but the path was dumb. This is the danger of over-reliance. We gave them a sitting target. We thought the altitude was enough. Radar is about time and reflection. A pulse goes out and hits metal. The time it takes reveals the distance. Stealth tries to deflect this pulse away. But with long waves, deflection fails. The wave wraps around the entire fuselage. It is called creeping wave diffraction. The energy travels along the drone's skin. Then it shoots back to the radar. It creates a massive energy spike. To the radar operator, it is blinding. There is no way to hide it. The entire airframe becomes an antenna. It is broadcasting its own position. This is the physical limit of stealth. We cannot hide from the long waves. The US drone was essentially blind. It looked for threats that were not there. The jammer sent the wrong signal. It was like speaking a dead language. The Cordad 3 simply did not listen. It ignored the waves of noise. It stayed locked on the physical target. The drone was a defenseless giant. It had no way to dodge. This was a total tactical failure. It proves technology is not a god. It is just a tool for war. If the tool is rigid, it fails. Reality always wins over digital dreams. Secret codes cannot stop a rocket. Physics has no loyalty to money. A cheap missile can kill a fortune. Air superiority now has a new price. It requires constant fluid adaptation. Tactical flexibility is the only true armor. This is the lesson of the horizon. Our machines must be smarter than their chips. We must learn to hide in the open. The loss of the Global Hawk taught a brutal lesson. Technology is never absolute without tactical flexibility. If your strategy is rigid, you are a target. Think about that unblinking radar eye again. It is always scanning for your unique signal. It wants your coordinates and your secrets. In our world, this is about your digital footprint. Every move you make leaves a trace behind. Every click is a new radar blip. We live in a contested digital airspace now. Silent sensors are watching your every single move. They are constantly building a profile of you. You might think you are invisible online. You might trust your private firewalls completely. But as we saw, stealth has its limits. High-frequency scans are happening right this second. They track your habits and your locations. They know what you value most. Protecting the most valuable thing is everything. Whether it is a pilot or your identity, we must learn to hide in the open. We must be smarter than the cold algorithms. The unblinking eye never sleeps or stops. It scans the horizon for any weakness. Neither should your own digital vigilance. We are all flying through a contested zone. The price of privacy is constant adaptation. Can we ever truly go dark again? What happens when the world knows everything? Is total invisibility even possible anymore? Tell us what you think in the comments.